Hello, everyone. We are super excited to be here today talking about caves, wetlands, and a mystery current event. I have to tell you guys, I love wetlands. I didn't grow up loving wetlands, but after I learned about wetlands, I'm like, wetlands are totally amazing. So I hope today you will feel excited. Caves are the same way, right? Caves are also totally amazing. So it's very exciting to have these two different environments that we're going to be talking about today, and there some trivia about them, and then our mystery current event. And Randy, you want to go ahead and get started with caves?
I do. I was trying to see the chat at the same time, and I can't get my window straight. So, anyways, I'm gonna let you. I'll look at that when people are answering
I'll look
the
at the
first
chat.
question.
I'll watch. I'll type question one.
All right. So we are going to go ahead. We have 5 questions about caves today. So let's start with the basics. How are most caves formed? So all 4 of these ways are ways that caves are formed, but only one is how most caves are formed. Okay. So are most caves formed by waves crashing against a rocky shore, lava flowing underground, acid and rain dissolving limestone, or glaciers eroding the land as they move? So, how are most caves formed?
Ooh, this is a very interesting question.
Oops. Do you know the answer, Melissa?
Well, I think all of these are ways that caves are formed, right?
Yes, that's what I said.
But which is the top one?
Yes.
I'd have to think about it. I know here where we live, there's a lot of glacier effect on the landscape. But here where we live is not everywhere that we live. Well, we only live here. We don't live everywhere.
All right. I'm still having trouble seeing the chat. Has anybody answered us in
We
the
have
chat?
one answer for B, lava flowing underground.
All right. Live chat. Let's see. And how many people are we waiting for?
So far Ashley is here and my kids are here. One of my kids is saying C and my other kid is saying A.
All right. So we
and
got
Ashley's 10-year-old says A also. So we have every answer except for D.
Okay. All right. Well, it's not D, so that's good. The answer is C. Acid and rain dissolves limestone. So you're probably like, oh my gosh, there's acid in the rain. It is very, very weak acid. Okay. It's not going to hurt you if rain is on you. But limestone is like chalk. Think of the chalk you draw on the sidewalk. That dissolves really easy, right? If you get it wet, it dissolves. And so that's basically how most caves are formed, is that acid from rain drips into the limestone and slowly, over thousands of years, wears it away. All right. So, which is true about most caves when you enter them? I didn't even ask if anybody's ever been to a cave. So you can put that in the chat. Put in the chat whether you've been to a cave. And if you have, picture walking in, and which of these things do you think is true? Do you think caves can feel colder or warmer than the air outside? Do you think caves are easy to see in? Do you think the air in caves is very dry and can lead to nosebleeds? Or do you think caves are very dusty, making it hard to breathe? So, which do you think is true about caves?
Oh, my kids say we've been to Cave of the Mounds and Jewel Cave, which are both limestone formed caves. So I really should have known the answer to the last question, but my brain is not working as well as my brain should today.
All right. So Dominic and Alan are both saying A, and they did tell us they've been to a cave. So it is possible they know what they're talking about.
And we're going to go to Mammoth Cave this summer too. So we'll get even more cave experience.
Okay, and one of Ashley's girls says they're dusty and it makes it hard to breathe. Let's see if her other daughter has a guess here. And she says that they can feel colder or warmer. All right, well, guess what? If you said they can feel colder or warmer, you are correct. So, caves are the average temperature of the area that they're in. So, if they're in Wisconsin, they're going to be the average temperature that Wisconsin is, but year round. So if it's in the winter and you go into the cave, it's going to feel warmer when you walk in there. But if it's a hot summer day and you walk in, it's going to feel cool. It's kind of a nice place to go, right? It's always going to be kind of that middle temperature. And just to go over the others, caves are dark. Okay, so they're not easy to see in. If you go tour one, there's usually lights throughout the cave. Air in caves is actually moister than the average air. It's a little more humid, and they're usually not dusty. All right. Question 3.
And if you've ever been inside it, like when we toured a cave once, then they turned out all the lights so you could see how dark it was in there. And it is dark.
Yes, that is very true. Very true. We have Isaiah has joined us too. So we have another person to answer our questions. All right. Which of the following is not a formation commonly found in caves? You can see in this cave here, you have all those cool formations in that picture. But which one of these words is not a cave formation? Columns, stalagmites, moraines, or stalactites? Which one of those is not a cave formation?
I for sure know this one, so I'm not.
Well, good. We'll see if your kids know. What are they talking about? Zelda Tears of the Kingdom?
They learned something about caves from Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, which is a video game.
Oh, okay. I don't know that video game. Oh, and Minecraft. Okay, so they're pulling on all their video game knowledge, all their background knowledge they have developed playing video games, and they're using it for trivia.
Yep. So they say C. Ashley's 6-year-old says B. And her 10-year-old says D.
And Isaiah says C. So nobody thinks it's columns. You're right. Columns are found in caves. And so are, I think I clicked it, yes. So, and stalactites. What is not found in caves is moraines. So the people who said C are correct. So here's a picture outside a cave, obviously. We have water, and then we have trees, and then above the trees, you see how there's just like a bunch of dirt, maybe some little boulders, pebbles. That is a moraine, and that's from when glaciers carve the rock around there. They just leave behind all this dust and rubble. So you could find those in a cave, but typically that's not what you're going to find in a cave. All right, question 4. We're talking about animals in caves now. What is a common adaptation of fish that live their entire lives in caves? We know animals have to adapt to their environment. An animal that lives up in the Arctic and it's cold all year is going to have different characteristics than an animal that lives down south where it's warm. So how do fish adapt that live in caves? Do they develop lungs to breathe? Do they grow extra thick scales? Do their scales and skin turn black? Or do they lose their eyesight or even stop making children with eyes? What do you think? Oh, one of your boys learned something new that they had not learned in their video games.
Probably about moraines. We live near to Kettle Moraine State Forest, which is like this huge area. There's actually like different units of it, like some to the west and some to the north. So I'm like, I knew it wasn't that word, but in the moment could not remember what a moraine was. I'm like, I
Gotcha.
know it's not a cave thing, but I couldn't remember what it was.
Gotcha. All right. So we have your boys say D. Ashley's oldest says A. Let's see what her youngest and what Isaiah has to say. So your boys knew they had heard that word before, but never probably thought what it means. They probably just thought it was some random name. All
Do
right.
you have a
Ashley's
question
daughter
about
says
how you tell
D.
the difference between a stalagmite and a stalag?
Oh, I did mean to talk about that. All right. And Isaiah says D. Let me answer this and then we'll go back to the cave formations. So if
Okay.
you said D, you are correct. All right. So the fish, they can't see, right? Because it's dark in there. So they just lose their eyesight. If you don't use it, you lose it, right? And they even stop making children with eyes sometimes. And this allows their other senses, their smell, fish smell, I'm not sure about that, their hearing, their feeling of vibrations to increase, to improve. All right. And they actually turn white is another adaptation. So you can see here where they're white and you can kind of see where there's no eyeball. They still have the indentation, right? They're not totally changed yet, but they sometimes lose their eyes. All right. Melissa brought up a good point. So columns, you can picture what a column is, right? You see them in buildings, on front porches. A stalagmite has the letter G in it, okay? So when you think of G, think of ground. And those are the formations that grow up from the ground. And what it is when water's dripping, remember we talked about there's stuff in the water, well, there's minerals, and that just over time piles up and makes a formation. So stalagmites start from the ground because they have a G. And then in stalactites, we have a C. And so that means they start from the ceiling and they come down. And sometimes if they line up well, they grow together and you get a column. Or if they grow all the way to the other end, you get a column. All right, we got one more cave question. All right, where is the longest cave system in the world and how long is it? Now you might think, oh my gosh, I have to know two things for this. It's actually easy. It means you only have to know one of the two things or guess one of the two things and you'll get it right. So you kind of have like two ways you could come up with the answer. So is the longest cave system in Kentucky and 426 miles long? Is it in Vietnam and 513 miles long? Is it in Germany and 230 miles long? Or is it in Africa and is 878 miles long? So what do you think? Where is the longest cave system in the world and how long is it? And I like how your boys wrote stalagmites and stalactielingtite.
I was gonna say I always think of when we were visiting Jewel Cave, and they can tell from like measuring the air and the air pressure and stuff like that there's more of the cave that they haven't found. So it's like incredible that we like have such huge caves already, but sometimes we can tell that there's even more of the cave that we haven't yet discovered.
And so maybe I should say, where is the longest cave system as we know it right now in the world, right? All right, we got D's. We got a B and a D, a D, a D. Isaiah, are you going to chime in? Oh, Isaiah retracted his message from question 4. All right, let's see if Isaiah has an answer. Give me 3 seconds. 2 and 1. All right. The longest cave system in the world is in Kentucky, and it's 426 miles. So if you were driving like the speed limit on an expressway, that would take you like 6 hours to drive from one end to the other. It's crazy. Vietnam has the largest cave in the world as far as like open space. So that could have thrown you off there. Totally made up, Africa. I don't know what the cave systems are like there. So,
one thing
all
I think
right.
is really fun about caves is because they're underground a lot of times. They're discovered by accident. These
Mm-hmm.
huge caves just found by accident.
Yes, we were at one in West Virginia. No, Tennessee. We were in Tennessee. Sorry. All the states meet in one corner. We were in Tennessee and toured a cave. And yes, there was like a hole in the ground. It was like a farmer like stumbled on this hole in the ground. So, and then realized there was a whole cave under there. All right. Go ahead with your wetlands.
All right. And like Ashley mentioned, I did put this on sale for half off, which is just $5. All of these facts are in there, plus a bunch more. And it's really fun. This is maybe one of my favorite units that I've ever written. Question 1, true or false? Wetlands are always wet. Is that A, true, or B, false?
Oh, you're starting easy with true and false.
Yeah. Well, it's a foundational question, right?
Although true false to me can be the trickiest question sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes. Are you watching the chat? Because when I have my
I
presentation,
am watching the
I
chat.
don't always see it very good.
I had it kind of behind my screen before, but now since I'm typing in it, it's my main screen, so I can see it. All right, we got one answer for false, two answers for false. Let's see. Your kids didn't disappear, did they?
I don't think so. But I don't know because they're upstairs.
They might have. I don't know. Waiting on Ashley's daughter. Oh, there's your kids. One says true, one says false. Oh, and Ashley's other daughter says false. We got 4 false and 1 true. I'm going to add false. I'm going to say so it's 5 false.
All right. So it is false. It's a key word. There is always, because some wetlands are only wet for part of the year. So they are not always wet. All right. Question 2. The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, or NOAA, recognizes 5 types of wetlands. Which one of these is not a type? Is it A, estuary, B, lake, C, marsh, D, ocean, E, river, or F, aviary?
Ooh, that's a lot to think through.
It is a lot to think through.
Could you tell us what some of these are, like estuary and aviary?
Not yet.
Or will that give it
I will give
away?
away the answer.
Okay.
Yeah, that would give it away.
Okay. I was going to say something, but then that might give it away too.
Yeah. A lot of these have fancier names, but these are like the common names. And then there are like other names for wetlands that people use, like swamp and fen and bog, which are like kind of like unofficial wetland names.
Well, I think it's regional, right? People in different
Yeah.
areas of the country and the world have different
Yes.
names usually.
But this is like how NOAA classifies the different types.
All right, we've got 3 aviary answers, and we're waiting on Ashley's girls. All right, and we've got ocean is not a wetland. One more we're waiting to come in. So I have some thoughts about these because there's multiple ones that I would not call a wetland. So both her girls say ocean. So we've got everybody
these are
answered.
types of wetlands. So like by themselves, they're not a wetland, but it's like a kind of wetland.
All right.
All right. So it's the aviary, right? I put a bird on here because aviary is actually a big building of birds. Like if you go to the zoo, a large building of birds is usually called an aviary. So that's not a type of wetland. But these all are the other types of wetland. And they have like fancier names, like estuary are like estuarine wetlands. And estuary is like where a river meets an ocean. So these, all the other 5 are types of wetlands that the NOAA classifies.
Alrighty. And estuaries have like fresh and salt water mixed together called brackish water.
Oh, yes. I have a question about that later.
I might just give away something.
It didn't give away an answer.
Good. Okay, good.
Okay. All right. Question 3. Wetlands are found on every continent except A, Asia, B, South America, C, Europe, or D, Antarctica.
See, now I'm keeping my mouth quiet so I don't give anything away. I don't know. I feel like you stumped people on that one.
On which one? Number 2?
Yeah, no, 3.
3?
Okay, we got 3 answers for D already. 4 answers for D. Ashley, will your 6-year-old go rogue? Will she pick one, go against the crowd? Nope, she went with the crowd. Everybody says D.
Well, everybody is correct. Wetlands are found on every continent except Antarctica. So you guys got that one. All right.
And why is that?
Well, because a lot of wetland has to do with the soil type. Like the soil in a wetland is hydric and it's an anaerobic environment, which means there's not oxygen in the soil. So the only plants that can survive are the plants that have the ability to grow in that kind of environment. And so there's not really a lot of plants in Antarctica. So there's not really wetlands there.
All right. So it's not just that it's frozen. There's a little more to it than it just being frozen.
Okay. Yes. I mean, yeah, it's like you got to like kind of dig into the layer of wetlands because it's not just about it being wet. It's also about the soil. And wetlands, actually, I could go on a whole thing. Wetlands do like all these amazing things. Like they clean the water, and like wetlands are like one of the best filterers of like pollutants and other toxins. And they prevent flooding and all of these amazing things that wetlands do. All right, question 4. See, I said we were going to talk about brackish later. Most of the wetlands in the U.S. are A, freshwater, B, saltwater, or C, brackish, which, as Randi said before, is where freshwater and saltwater meet. And it is a little bit more salty than freshwater, but not as salty as saltwater. So which one do you think most wetlands are in the U.S.?
See, now I'm overthinking this based on the type of wetlands given by NOAA.
Yeah, because you got to assume ocean, which ocean wetlands are ocean is like their common name. Otherwise, they're called marine wetlands. And the other fancier words are even fancier. I couldn't tell you all the fancy words off the top of my head. I like to remember the simple ones.
All righty. Okay, your boys are saying brackish. We do have a lot of brackish water in the Carolinas because there's lots of inlets and rivers going in and barrier islands and just a lot of needing of fresh water and salt water. All right, and then Ashley's girls say, Ashley, there isn't a D. So one daughter says B. And the other daughter, okay, thank you. 2 B's. So they both say saltwater. Isaiah, what do you think? No, I would guess between A and B myself. I would have said A before you told us the Noah stuff. So now I'm saying A or B. Isaiah says C as well.
It is A, freshwater. Just to remember, think about all the caves, even though there are all those different caves formed by different things, only one of them is going to be the most. So even though there are a lot of different caves.
And we do have the Great Lakes, which are very unique in the world.
Yes.
So.
All right. So question 5, what country has more wetlands than any other country in the world? Is it A, the United States, B, Canada, C, Russia, D, China, or E, India?
Oh, see, you're tricky again with the 5 choices.
Oh, yeah, I don't know why I did 5 choices. I just did. Oh, yeah, the one that has 6 choices, I was like, that felt like a lot, but I felt like I wanted to put all 5 types on there. But if I put all 5 types on there, then I still need one for the wrong for the wrong answer, or the right answer, which is the type that doesn't exist. Do you have a guess, Randy?
I'm guessing I have 2. I have 2 guesses. I think. See, I'm thinking about the size of the country. So even if a country has a lot for that country, but if it's a smaller country than the other one, I'm probably overthinking things again. All right, we have 2 E's. We have a C. We haven't heard from your boys yet. I'm thinking is A, but then I also feel like it could be B or D.
Well,
okay, your boys say C and D.
Nobody has the correct answer.
Well, I said A and B, or no, B.
Yes, you have the correct answer. It's B.
No,
it's Canada. Canada has more wetlands than any other country in the world.
What about that? Well, because they share the Great Lakes too. So see, yeah, and they got some big bays.
If I remember right, it's about 5% of the U.S. that is wetlands. Like of all the land of the U.S., 5% of it is wetlands.
All right.
Which is
and do you
still
remember
a
what
lot
it is in
wetlands.
Canada?
I don't remember what it is in Canada.
But they don't have deserts to take up space. So that kind of gives them an extra edge. All right. If you want to put up my slides. So our current event was a big event this month.
I cannot find your slides, Randy.
Oh, maybe do I have to put them back?
You might have to put them back.
Let's see.
Oh, now I see your slides.
Okay.
There you
go. Okay.
Ooh, they just disappeared for a minute, but they're back now.
We got to flip through them all. Hold on. All right. Oops. I clicked too many times. All right. So the big news this month is that a new pope was elected. Okay. And you might not have paid attention to this, but I'm going to tell you in a minute why this was so historic. All right. So let's start with question 1, and then I'll tell you why this was such a big current event. So, what is the Pope the leader of? Okay. The Pope is a leader. See, the leader of Italy, the Catholic Church, all of Europe, or the United Nations, which is basically like an organization that a bunch of countries belong to. So what do you think the Pope is the leader of? And then we'll talk why this was a big deal. And I'm trying, do you know how long it had been since we had a new Pope?
It can't have been too long because it's in my lifetime and I don't feel like I'm that old yet.
But I'm like, was it 10 or was it 15? let's see, 12. Okay, I actually had a year in my head. So it had been 12 years since we had a new pope. All right, so your boys say the Catholic Church. Ashley's daughter, one says Catholic Church, one says United Nations, and Isaiah says Catholic Church. Okay, so you are right that it's Catholic Church. You might think, well, I'm not Catholic. I don't know Catholic people. It's not that big of a deal. But 1 out of 7 people in the world is Catholic. That kind of blew me away when I looked that up. So it's 1.2 billion people. So imagine being the leader of 1.2 billion people. That's a big deal. And so that's why it was in the news so much. So let's learn a little about the Pope and how they pick him. So the Pope is also the leader of Vatican City. It's also called the Holy See. I always thought it was SEA until last week. I was like, oh, it's SEE, which is a separate country. So which of the following is not true about Vatican City? So 3 things are true and 1 is not. The official language is Latin. It is much smaller than Central Park in New York City. It has a population of 1,000 people-ish. We'll say 1,000-ish. Or it is inside of Rome, which is a city in Italy. Which one of those things is not correct?
Oh, I forgot to type question 2. Hearing you type just reminded me that I forgot to type it.
There we go. We're good.
I was listening so intently to your speaking.
All right. Do you know the answer to this question?
I have an educated guess based on the ones that I do know are true.
Okay.
But I don't know 3 of them for sure. I know less than 3 of them for sure. So I have an educated guess.
Gotcha. All right. So we have a guess for D. We have a guess for A. We have a guess for C. Waiting for 2 more guesses. Let's see if anybody guesses B. Then we'll have all 4 choices.
Have you ever been to Italy, Randy? I have never been to Italy.
The only country I've ever been to outside of my own is Canada. That's it. All right, we have another D. So 3 people said D. It actually is inside of Rome. So Rome is all around it. And it actually only has about 1,000-ish people. And it's actually a lot smaller in Central Park in New York City. But what is not true is that the official language is Latin. So many people say Latin is a dead language, meaning we don't use it to communicate. People don't use it to communicate in the world anymore. They don't talk in it. They don't send emails in Latin. But it is used in some of like church ceremonies. And here's something interesting. In Vatican City, on all the ATM machines where you put your card in, you get your money out, the writing on there is in Latin. So I thought that was interesting. So anyways,
but it's not the official language.
There is no official language actually of Vatican City, but Italian is what is spoken the most there. All right, moving on.
It's like how the U.S. doesn't have an official language either. Places don't have to have official languages.
Right, they don't. They can have traditional languages. All right, so 133 cardinals gathered to vote. Now, these are not birds, okay? They're not bird cardinals. These are men that it's kind of like, you know, you move up in a company or something to a higher level. So cardinals are like a pretty high level in the Catholic Church. So 133 of them gathered to vote for the Pope last week. Where did they gather? And you might just have to take a total guess at this. So, was it St. Peter's Basilica? Was it the Colosseum, which is this old stadium from ancient Rome that's still in Rome? Was it Notre Dame? Or was it the Sistine Chapel? So, where do you think they gathered? Isaiah's like on it. He's like, I know this. It is D. Your boys are split between St. Peter's Basilica and the Sistine Chapel. And your boys said they have friends who have a parent from Italy. We've played
Yes.
hockey with not quite a few, but a few different families from Italy. Hockey gets you like a lot of people from other countries, like a lot of the
Yes.
families we played hockey with. We've had some from like Sweden and South Africa and Italy and
Yes, so when I go
Russia.
to a hockey game, I enjoy like looking up the information about the players and see where they're from. I find that really fun.
Yes. All right, so we've got D's and A's,
And Ashley's kids say B and C.
so we got it all
We got
covered.
all them
We
colors.
covered all our bases. All right, and I think that you might not know this, and it was just going to be a total guess. So it is the Sistine Chapel, and look up pictures of the Sistine Chapel later. This isn't the greatest one, but if you look at the ceiling, this is inside of it, you can see it's painted. And this whole ceiling was painted by Michelangelo, which is a very famous artist from the Renaissance. So this whole ceiling is like one of the most famous pieces of art in the world. So it's kind of neat that that is where they gathered in this space with all these paintings, watching them basically as they vote. And actually, when they put their ballot in the box, they like write out their vote and they put it in a box. There's like a certain painting that is like looking at them and kind of signaling to them to like be, do the right thing. So kind of neat. All right. Question 4. So to elect to elect the Pope, so the cardinals are electing someone among themselves. Okay. The Pope is in that room. And so you have to get 2/3 of the vote to win. And so they just keep voting until 2/3 of the vote say one person. And each time they vote, they burn the actual ballots with a special chemical that makes the smoke a certain color. And then people gathered outside. If you saw that one picture, there's a big plaza outside. So people gathered outside can see the color of the smoke and know if they've chosen a new pope or not. So, what color tells everyone a new pope has been chosen? Is it black, red, white, or blue? What are the people outside looking for? Oh, your boys wrote question 4 in there for you. What color are people looking for? All right. Both your kids say white, but who knows
It
if
can
they
take a
know what
long
they're
time
talking
too.
about.
I remember looking up like what the longest one ever was, which I think if I remember right was like like
hundreds of years ago.
Yeah, like I wanted
Yeah,
because
I
I
think
was
you might
like
be right.
curious, like what's the average time that, and one of them I looked up was like months or longer than that.
Yeah, I
Can't
feel like
remember now how long it was.
recently they've been more like 4 or 5 votes, and then they pick someone. We watched the movie Conclave right before this, so that's very interesting. If you're like interested in this, it's probably not going to hold kids' attention at all. Plus, there's probably a few things in there, but anyways, for the adults, if you have more interest in this, that was a really good movie. All right, let's see. We got white, we got red, white. 2 years of waiting. One of your boys says one of them was 2 years.
Oh yeah, I just looked it up. What's the longest one? It's the
It
longest
is?
one ever. Started in December of 1268 and went on until September of 1271.
Well, there's a story there, isn't there? That's what
Yeah.
they need to make a movie about. All right. We got Isaiah. We got everybody. I'm sorry. Let's move on. All right. If you said white, you are correct. Now, here in the picture is the black smoke. So if you saw that, that means, oh, they didn't pick anybody yet. Got to vote again. All right. The last question. So when the Pope is elected, he traditionally chooses a new name. So our new Pope is Pope Leo the 14th, meaning there were been 13 other Pope Leos in history. But what I want you to guess or if you know, is what was his name before becoming Pope? What did his parents name him? And then he was called that all his life up until he became Pope Leo. So is it Peter? Is it Bob? Is it Joe? Or is it Paul? What was his name? And I was wondering, as you're thinking about that, like on his passport, I'm assuming he just keeps his old name on the passport, right? It doesn't say like Pope Leo on it now.
I don't know. Maybe he gets a fancy Holy See passport since it is
He
a
might.
country, right?
Yes,
So
he might get a very fancy passport.
yeah. I was just thinking there's been a lot of chatter, right, living in Wisconsin because he's from Chicago, right? So there's been much chatter about not only is he the first American pope, but he's from the Midwest. So that's like
Right.
people from the Midwest, myself included, get very excited when other people are from the Midwest.
Right. Claim him.
Yeah.
All right. So your boys say Peter and Paul. That's fun. One of Ashley's girls says Bob. Isaiah says Bob. And we're going to see what Ashley's 6-year-old says. I don't know. She's thinking hard about it. And we have a few more facts about him when we get to the next page. All right, I think we're going to move on.
Question 5, I can't spoiler anything now.
All right, so his name is Bob, or it was Bob before he became Pope Leo. And as Melissa said, he grew up in Chicago. He's actually been working like a missionary in Peru for the last 20 years. So he's American and Peruvian because he's a citizen. He's a citizen of both countries. So they're claiming him too. You Midwesterners are going to have to share him with Peru. And his college degree, now he has like a master's in divinity, which is like religious studies. But his first college degree was in mathematics. So Ashley's daughter had to use the bathroom. All right. So that is our trivia for today. It's our last trivia for the school year. I don't know if you all have a summer break or you do school year round, but if you are about to have a summer break, enjoy your summer break. Melissa, do you do a summer break?
We school year round. So
do you? Okay. We've always done a summer break. We've always just been ready. I mean, we'll do field trips and stuff. It's not like we're not learning, but
we have always just schooled year round. That's just what we've always done.
All right. Cool. Very nice. All right. So take care, everyone. We will still have a mini unit study out this week. It's going to be the rainforest. And then after that is electricity. I know Melissa is going to be traveling and one of her stops is Mammoth Cave.
Yeah.
So I would assume you don't have anything new coming out in the next couple of weeks.
Well, usually I just do my new freebie once a month. So my next one won't be until June. I don't do it every week like you, Randy. I'm not as fast.
All righty. So anyways, look, oh, that's right. Ashley brought up that today is the anniversary of Jamestown. I totally forgot about that. And we did our Jamestown mini unit study last week. Sorry, I just noticed that my computer's plugged in, but it's not charging. So I'm glad it didn't die during this. I just noticed that indicator on my computer. Sorry, distracted me a little bit.
That's okay. Is there anything else to say before we leave, Randy?
I'm just reading the comments here. All right. Your boys think they're coming down by me. Sort of, I think. Is Mammoth Cave as far south as you're coming?
Well, we're going around too in like a circle.
But do you think it's the closest you're getting to Charlotte?
No, we're getting closer when we go
over. What are you doing? You're doing the one in Virginia.
Yeah.
Which is totally escaping my mind at the moment. But yes.
Yes.
Still a few hours away. But yes, you are coming closer to us. All right. We're going to let you all go. Everybody have a good night. And thanks for joining us all year. Bye.
Yes. Thanks for being here. Bye.